FPO is boring has to be one of the dumbest takes in all of disc golf, especially in 2023. Oh my gosh, go in. Whew. I think kind of frustratingly, one of the things that will happen no matter what, if you play disc golf for any amount of time and like go to a local league scene or something, is there still seems to be a lot of like chide or snide comments about FPO disc golf right now, where it definitely doesn't seem like it gets even close to the same respect as an MPO. That's my new putting style, guys. Now, personally, I only got into the sport in January of last year, but I kind of dove headfirst, obviously, as you can tell by this channel, and I bought like a DGN subscription like 4 months into having played, but I was always very interested in both the FPO and the MPO side, which is frustrating because, I mean, disc golf can be a guy's club in a lot of local scenes. I've traveled around to a lot of local scenes, and definitely not everybody has this opinion, but people thinking that FPO is either boring or worse than MPO, especially a lot of the people who say that, who are like mid-800s rated, especially right now, you gotta change that mentality and start watching and supporting a lot more FPO. Terrible. Glitch. Get there, get there. Ah, it's so short. Just left. Is honestly, I feel like a lot of the people who I play with who are like, either around my skill level, which is 950s, or a lot better, tend to have a lot of respect for FPO. I think one of the reasons why it's such a bad mentality is FPO should be your standard for wanting to get better, because you can't just look at a guy like Paul Macbeth, or even let's just talk about some of like the not top MPO, like a Robert Burridge, who really popped off a little bit last year and is definitely a really great disc golfer, but he's over 1,000 rated. And you can look at those guys and like want to get to that position. If you're under 900, even under 1,000 rated, looking at FPO is a great way to try to get better and see what skills you can improve on. Because honestly, if you're complaining about FPO a lot of times, these women who are at the top of their game would like whoop your butt all day long. And look, I don't think all the courses that they play are ideal. That's something that I want to talk about though, because it's getting better and one of the reasons why FPO is so great right now. But watching FPO play and seeing the way that they make decisions, to see the types of things that you can do to score better, especially the FPO players, when you watch Disc Golf Network, who aren't on those league cards, who aren't throwing that far, like an Owen Scoggins. She doesn't throw super far, but she's always in contention because the other parts of her game are so sound. That can be a great place for you to strive to be. It's honestly gonna take a long time to get there. They've been working at that craft forever. And if you're just looking at MPO, you can like build your bag or play disc golf in a way that if you're modeling it after them, you're not gonna be able to play nearly as good as if you model it after FPO a little bit. But that's honestly not the only reason why FPO is so compelling to watch right now. Let's go. That disc is so money. We gotta talk about FPO course design, and this is one of the things that got me fired up about making this video, because the Innova Open at Texas State's that just went down was so fun to watch because FPO was playing a scoreable course for them. It was a completely different layout from the MPO layout, designed specifically for FPO, because a lot of times what had happened is it felt like FPO was put on the back burner by a lot of these Pro Tour course designers, maybe not intentionally, but that's kind of how it happened, because they would just throw different tee pads or maybe different baskets on a lot of the same holes. And if you know anything about course design, the shape of the fairway is super important. So if you change up the distances a little bit, it's gonna play as a completely different hole a lot of times. Ooh, lucky. I think that also really hurt how good you were able to see FPO players play. Because when you're seeing them score over par rounds that are on the league card a lot of times, that doesn't really give you a good mentality. And I know this firsthand because from tournaments that I've played where even par was around 1,000 rated at a course, but because that was the case, people are like, oh, this course is so easy, blah, blah, blah. Because seeing it on video and actually playing it are two completely different things. But people respect really low scores. And when you're used to MPO shooting 10, 12, 13 down as hot rounds, and FPO's hot round is 1 or 2, you're like, okay, how good can they actually be? Which is a terrible mentality to have. But from the outside looking in, I don't think it makes sense, but I can see where that comes from. So to see Saya Nanda shoot 20 under par as her winning score, super clutch 38-footer to end it, by the way. I was listening to a podcast. She said that she thought she had to make that to not let Kristen force them to a playoff. So she canned it, which is so clutch. That's so badass. A lot of times I'll just watch DGN in the background while I'm editing or working because I have 2 screens now, which is sick. But it's just more fun to watch birdies than hard pars. So I really am hoping that course design moves in the way that Texas State's was, instead of something like the European Open where they play the exact same layout and like I don't even know what the final score was, but it was crazy over par. And people like Paige, who are phenomenal at disc golf and can throw far, like that because they like to be compared to the MPO. Because for her, she's trying to push herself by looking at that next division and seeing how she can do better and watching how the mixed field plays that course. And that's exactly why I think watching FPO can be so helpful, even if your rating might be higher than FPO players, because they're on the highest scene of the game. They're playing under immense different types of pressure, and watching how they attack a course can be so helpful. So please, course designers, make more courses like Texas State's. Oh God, that's bad. Doesn't work, Jerm. On top of all of this, FPO so far has had such an increased parity this year as compared to last year. And everyone was talking about how great the parity was last year, even though Kristen just dominated everything. But there have been 6 events, including the 2 wraparounds that happened last year in 2022 for the 2023 season. And every single one has had a different winner so far. That's incredible to watch. But there are always new names to root for and see how they play, because every disc golfer that you can see who's different has a slightly different playing style that you might like a little bit more or be able to take something else from. But you don't just have to watch it like if you're trying to get better. It's also just a blast to watch. Honestly, this can be seen a pretty good bit in just how Jomez took over coverage for FPO this year, and it's like tripled the viewership. Also, great job bringing in the 2 Akis. They are such phenomenal commentators. We're gonna get to something else commentating-wise in a second. But on top of that, I was watching the live final round of coverage this past weekend. And yes, it is a Silver Series. That went exactly where I was aiming. FPO and MPO final round coverage honestly had pretty similar viewerships, at least when I was on there, because you can now see it when you're watching on the desktop version, which is pretty cool. But I do have a gripe with DGN and how they produce their coverage for the FPO this weekend. Okay, now I want to throw it on some Heiza. Dude. Dear Disc Golf Network, is it really that hard to get a woman to commentate on the final round? Actually, any of FPO coverage this past weekend. I don't understand why there were 2 men commentating for FPO coverage exclusively. You guys are setting the trend in so many ways for disc golf and how coverage should be consumed. Please have women commentate FPO next time. I feel like it might just be like, I don't feel like there's a lack of personalities. There are plenty of people who want to do it. So, like, why are there 2 men commentating FPO? There might be a reason for it. We like to give DGN a pass, but I mean, I don't want to see more FPO coverage where there are not women commentating. That just doesn't make any sense. Now, I didn't watch any Central Coast coverage this past weekend because I watched everything live, but I'm gonna link the Central Coast coverage to the final round of FPO, and if that doesn't motivate you to watch more FPO this year, I don't know what does. Buy more FPO Tour Series discs. Honestly, a lot of times their Tour Series discs are way better for our arms. I had so much of Kristen Tatar's plastic in my bag last year, and I threw that phenomenally. This year, I actually have the new Jessica Weiss Destroyer, which is now my new bomber disc. I have a couple FPO Destroyers, honestly, that I'm throwing interchangeably, but support FPO by buying their Tour Series discs. They're phenomenal. Watch more FPO coverage. And honestly, I just think as a whole, we need to respect FPO a lot more because the level of play that they're showing is ridiculous. And it's something that I personally aspire to in a lot of, I look up so much to all of the FPO players every time that I'm watching them. Woo! Someone just aced. Welcome to Johnny Roberts. Respect FPO, let's ace with a glitch. Oh God, I don't know. I just feel like you're missing out on an integral part of professional disc golf if you don't watch FPO or follow the storylines, especially if you have DGN. Like, what are you doing early in the morning? Just throw on some FPO, dude. It's a blast. If you didn't realize this was the second channel yet, Bodanza's Bogies, hopefully you did. Maybe you subscribe. Trying to get to 2,000 subscribers real fast. And I'm planning on doing more videos like this, which are just like random opinion pieces, because I don't know, I didn't plan to make this video today. And then I was listening to Sayananda on some podcasts this morning, and just like, I don't know, her personality, the way she conducts herself, the way she thinks about disc golf, and just like the business of disc golf is super cool and very inspiring. So check out that coverage from Central Coast, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. What's that?
Oh shit, I didn't know you were in the middle photographing. My bad.
Oh yeah, it's video.
My bad.
You're good, dude. Well, I'm a photographer now, I guess. Peace.